has had such a prolific impact on the way we view life as we know it. Looking back at the early use of the moving picture, people saw the vision of turning a simple thought in their heads into the most spectacular piece of visual media known to man. Throughout the time of film, we've seen endless worlds, alternative realities, and diverse possibilities come to life. From pen and paper to the most spectacular visual masterpiece, film is yet to disappoint. And it often makes you wonder, how do these people do it? How do they turn nothing into a multi-billion-dollar idea? Some would say it's a brilliant mind, others would say it's luck. But I say the whole idea of inspiration has a part to play in this ever-changing world of film. But let's delve a little bit deeper. Let's really hone in on something more specific. What about book-to-film adaptations? Hello and welcome to the episode 1 of Through the Lens. So how much have fictional books actually impacted the industry? Well, in theory, to answer such a broad question, let's look at the idea of fictional books actually entering into the film industry and their overall impact on the industry. Take one of the most popular fantasy film trilogies on the market, such as The Lord of the Rings and its impact on film. The whole trilogy was filmed in a risky way, as all 3 movies were filmed all before the release of the first Lord of the Rings, meaning the stress to perform was heavily set on the first film.
You know, nobody has ever said we'll pay for 3 films, 3 big budget, expensive, complicated films. Yeah. We'll shoot them all together before we release the first one, because we don't even know if the first one's going to succeed or not at the box office. I mean, it's a hell of a risk.
On top of its strong cast, stunning VFX and popularity, the storyline from the original books, on top of the development of the characters, is what really differentiates it from other films. By taking advantage of the writing of J.R.R. Tolkien within the book trilogy to turn Middle-earth and its characters into one of the most popular film trilogies contributes to its success. The exploration of emotion through friendship, courage and sacrifice also contributes towards its high box office rating. The way The Lord of the Rings has been approached has had such an impact on the way the industry writes its characters, storyline and places through adopting the fictional book writing style for the big screen, overall making it one of the most successful book-to-film adaptations. So one of the most noticeable book-to-film adaptations out there that people often default to, apart from your classic Lord of the Rings, The Godfather, The Hunger Games, and so on, is the one and only Harry Potter. One of the most predominant film sagas of the 21st century, Harry Potter inspired millions that there could be a world within our own, where people roam the earth with magical wizard powers. Released as 8 separate films across a 10-year period between 2001 and 2011, Harry Potter dominated the film industry, with all 8 films getting a combined total approximate opening box office figure of $821 billion. And little did the cast know how successful the series would be.
Well, it's an extraordinary experience. You know, there isn't anything to compare it to. When I said I would do it, there were only 3 books, so didn't quite know what any of us were letting ourselves in for.
But not only did Harry Potter play a massive role in the film industry, it did wonders to the British tourism industry. Millions of tourists each year come to the famous locations around the UK, especially in Scotland, where a lot of the famous film scenes are filmed. Take the famous stretch of train tracks on the Scotland West Highland Line, which is an iconic part of the film and is instantly recognisable amongst millions. This stretch of the West Highland Line, known as the Glenfinnan Viaduct, sees approximately 500,000 tourists a year to see the famous train tracks and the train from the film. And, as well as that, you can even hop on the train itself. As well as this, we can't also forget the making of Harry Potter Studios tour in London, which also saw a big influx of tourists each year, approximately 2 million people each year to be exact. And not only does it attract so many people each year, it attracts billions in revenue and a massive popularity around the industry and the franchise, enough to even shock the cast itself.
I'm just amazed by how it just goes on and gathers momentum, and the number of people that are fascinated by Harry Potter. And it's something that one never imagined when we started. I don't think any of us really knew how big it would be. And to see all the cast again, like 2 years after because often when you finish a job, some of the actors and actresses you never see again, and some you bump into again. But to come to something like this and you see everyone again and just catch up with, and watching the kids grow, year by year.
With the UK tourism industry seeing an influx and impact of the Harry Potter franchise, UK theatres also had seen a benefit, with the more recent and notorious production Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which had a prolific impact on the franchise, seeing it make approximately £14 million from April 2022 to the end of March 2023. But let's take a step back in time. More specifically, let's look back at the 21st of May 1985. The first episode of the Ray Bradbury Theatre lands on US television with episode 1, Marionettes Inc. It's a 30-minute episode which explores a sci-fi near-future world. In this world, a mysterious company called Marionettes Inc. creates and supplies lifelike robot duplicates for people. The main protagonist, who is called Brolin, explores this service to replace him due to the controlling marriage he's found himself in. Now, fast forward 6 seasons and 65 episodes later, the Ray Bradbury Theatre was considered a fan favourite and a success amongst the crowd and the TV industry. But why? What did the Ray Bradbury Theatre do that differed from the other book-to-film adaptations? What made it a success? Before we answer all of that, let's look into the brains behind the idea. Born on the 22nd of August 1920, Ray Bradbury spent the majority of his early years growing up in Waukegan, Illinois, till he moved to Los Angeles, California. Ever since he was a child, Bradbury began his writing journey when his creativity was sparked by a magician's performance. Since that spark, Bradbury has written every day, right up until the 80s.
At 10, 11, 12, I began to dream of becoming a writer. And the rest of my life has been the real task of shaping myself to that boyhood thing. So fantasizing has been very creative.
I thought that you dreamt of becoming a magician when you were a child.
I was a magician, but I was everything. I was into so many things. I was into architecture. I fell in love with World's Fairs when I was 12.
Coming from a blue-collar family, Bradbury knew early on that him and his family wouldn't be able to afford tuition costs for college. This is where, as a young adult, he spent most of his time, 10 hours a day to be exact, reading and writing in the library, even whilst having a part-time job selling newspapers. Ray Bradbury would go on to write for decades and produce stories such as Fahrenheit 451, A Sound of Thunder, The Veldt, and The Pedestrian. He became a well-established professional within the publishing industry and had a lasting impact on the world till and beyond his death in 2012. He now rests in the Pierce Brothers Westwood Village Memorial Park and Mortuary in Los Angeles with a headstone that reads, Ray Bradbury, author of Fahrenheit 451. Now, to answer the burning question of what makes this series differ from the others and why it's such a success, let's delve deeper into the series itself. Now, going into 1986, the Ray Bradbury Theatre was continuing to get relatively high viewer ratings amongst the public. Season 2 hits HBO with the legendary episode 1, The Town Where No One Got Off. Considered to be one of the most popular and highest rated episodes, The Town Where No One Got Off sees a train that always passes through a strange and yet ordinary looking town where no one ever gets off. Until someone does. The episode explores the protagonist, called Cogswell, explore the sinister meaning and truth behind the town when no one got off.
Son, there's no answers out there. Nothing but boring people and boring houses and boring jerkwater junctions. I'll take the rat race any day, thank you very much.
I think otherwise.
Well, hell, if you think, why not act? I mean, next town comes up, stop the train, jump off, and meet the wonderful folks in your rural paradise.
This all boils down to the way it was written. Ray Bradbury had such a way of writing his short stories that would captivate the reader and help them envision the story he was trying to convey with clever storytelling and flow of events. This made it easier for it to be made into a film / TV adaptation. As well as this, Bradbury had a massive involvement in the production of the series itself, even starring as one of the cast members. As a result of this, the series proved to be consistently successful and popular amongst the sci-fi community.
We need artists, we need people like myself who take hold of a piece of reality and say, this is what it is. We've saved up attention for tears. So I, as a writer, come along and try to help you to cry at the right time. We save up attention of laughter, perhaps for our silly politicians. I come along as a writer and help you to laugh. We save up tensions of murdering. The wonderful fact about civilization is that most people do not murder, that most of us are peace-loving, that we do make do in the best sense. So I come along with a story and enable you for an hour to murder, so that the next day you don't have to do it in reality.
The written word strikes again. With such a deep and integrated impact on the industry, film adaptations of fictional books proved to be a popular idea within the film community. Each film, director, and fan has their own interpretation and opinion of films produced within the genre of film, and every film has its perks and quirks. Each story, world, and character brings life and inspiration to hundreds and thousands of people each and every day, and who knows what the future will hold for the future of the crossover of the industries. Join us next time as we explore the films once again through the lens.